Well, it could mean two things. It could mean that several countries have stepped up their game and left us behind. That's one. Because from what you've said, we've dropped down. So it could mean that others have improved their game because it's a comparator. That is one explanation. Another explanation is that we cannot be in denial of the recent threats to national survival,
national security,
and national security in parts of the country, especially in the north, which many have attributed to increasing poverty and increased ignorance. And even those who have continued to perpetrate this have claimed that it's because of the conditions of living and poverty that has enabled them.
Environment.
And even if they don't claim that, quite frankly, I don't think anybody will be involved in those dastardly acts if they were gainfully employed and their children and their wives had opportunities of livelihood. And they were not excluded because they say a hungry man is definitely a hungry man. So I believe those statistics to a large extent has a two-way. I think many countries are trying to get out of this poverty trap. You see, because conditions, Nigeria's, the life expectancy in this country, unfortunately, is still below 50 for a man.
50-51.
That is it, 50-51 for a and that's not very encouraging for a country that is supposed to be both wealthy and has talent, and resources. So, it's a two-way explanation for that. It's a combination of several things. I think there is a challenge in service delivery, especially health service delivery. And the way to prevent maternal mortality and infant mortality is primarily education and information. So where there is crass ignorance, and we continue to say that 70% are poor and ignorant, how do you expect an ignorant person, right, or somebody who is subject to that level of ignorance to avail themselves of the opportunity that will prevent that? That's one thing. Then another issue is the exclusion, social exclusion of particularly women and young people, right, from certain facilities and certain opportunities. And when you talk maternal mortality and child mortality, it's a women's responsibility. So there's a direct relationship between the pedestal we place women or how we include women in our development agenda and the results we are getting on maternal mortality. Another thing that will be helpful to Nigeria is that, you see, when you look at Nigeria as a whole and you say Nigeria is this and this is the statistics, it does not help because you are not focusing on where the issues are. There are 36 different states in this country, under 6 regions. Give me the statistics of each state and then we'll know where to attack the problems. It is not just to say that Nigeria is universal. I'm not sure whether Nigeria has the worst case of maternal. Take, for example, Ondo State is doing quite well in maternal mortality, right? Lagos State could have been doing well, but a lot of people, because of other facilities, they come to Lagos. So, as a matter of fact, you want to pity the governor of Lagos State. Because the more work he does, the more people come to pressure on these existing services. So how is it? So what is happening to the other places?
Now, this is where again we'll come back to the same cycle. Well, I don't want to say we'll come back to the same cycle. But this way we'll come back to what primarily I thought the peer review mechanism for the states should be doing. If Lagos State is a model, how will have imagined that probably Kano, Plateau, Anambra and all that, in doing a proper peer review, would want to say, let's take Lagos as a template, let's copy and paste. So why are we not doing that?
Well, there are several reasons for that. Number one, states can learn from each other, and actually DFID, going back to DFID, tries to get states to learn lessons from each other. But some people believe that, well, we are so different, and so we can't learn anything from each other. But I say to that, what works, works. What is good, good. what it works
in whatever environment.
in whatever environment, especially when it comes to what makes a human being a human being. In whatever environment, you will need to be educated to face your challenges. So whether north, south, east, or west, education must definitely be a significant part of you getting out of your development issues. Corruption cannot be acceptable in the north and say it is not acceptable in the south or vice versa. For government to work, the civil society, the demand side, should be empowered, the press. And that is the only way that can challenge government to provide services. So that doesn't have anything to do with wherever you are from and why you can't learn. Then the issue of gender or inclusion, having a society that is inclusive. Because the problems that we have in Nigeria today are directly connected to social exclusion.
A lot of our people
social
are not part
and economic
of,
exclusion.
Yeah.
And the way you have to provide categories, people are excluded on the basis of either sex or age, particularly sex and age. If you're a young person, you're out. If you are a woman, it becomes difficult for you.
If you're a girl.
So if you're a girl, it makes it, a problem. So how can a society, and what is the population of women in Nigeria? It's about 50%, if not more. So how does a man run a race when half his body is paralyzed? That is the challenge we face. So whether anywhere, so I think one of the lessons they can learn from Lagos, for example, is the role of civil society.
Yeah.
And what civil society does to hold government to account. Other things include things like public financial management, the improvements that have happened, issues that around security. Look at the Lagos State Trust Fund and security. Those are things. There are other things that have happened other places too, and I don't believe by any means that Lagos is ideal. It is
not yet.
This is not yet ideal, and it can learn lessons too from other places.
All right. On a last note, I can't ask you to croon a song for us, but are you looking at 2015 to be probably the year that your music made in Nigeria can become the signature tune for the entire country? Do you?
Well, you see, the music made in Nigeria is an old business. I'm not looking at any particular date. Any time is welcome. But there's one song that I even would prefer is a signature tune. It's called Alafia.
Alafia.
And I will give you the words. It says, everybody is looking for some answers to the problems of the world we face today. How many can face tomorrow? What miracle can bring back yesterday? Politicians shaking hands and smiling. We hope they know what they are doing. Because as ambitions keep on rising, children in the streets keep on dying. But what we need is Alafia. So Alafia means total well-being.